So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and separate this man out from the background, because we're going to be doing a couple of effects and we want to have him separated out from that background there. So there's a couple of ways that we can do this. The main way that we're going to do it is we're going to select him and then we're going to copy and paste him just onto his own layer. So to do that, you can do all kinds of different selection methods. You can use the polygonal lasso tool or the regular lasso tool. If you have a tablet, that might be easier for you. Some people like using the pen tool and they'll go in and make little tiny points and curves throughout the whole selection. But I'm just going to show you probably one of the easiest ways to do it. It's not as accurate as, say, using the pen tool, but it's definitely a lot faster and easier. So go over to the toolbar and then go to the quick selection tool. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4th icon down, and it's going to give us a brush. Now my brush is really tiny at this moment and we want to make it bigger. So we can go up to the brush settings at the top and click on this drop down and change the size. Or a shortcut for that is to use the bracket keys on the keyboard. So by hitting the left and right bracket keys, you can actually make your brush size bigger or smaller. So that's a great shortcut to have, because we can use a big brush and start selecting this big piece of information, and you can see it's finding the differences in pixels and picking up that information for us. Okay, now we need to get a little more fine-tuned because some of this is a little smaller, so we'll go ahead and select a smaller brush, and at this point I'd probably start zooming in and seeing if I can touch this up a little bit. So you can see here where parts of the finger and different parts have not been selected, so we want to go ahead and select that out, and we want to make sure we grab this finger. So grab too much. So if you accidentally select too much, you can hold down the Alt or Option key. Alt for PC and Option for Mac, and it will subtract your selection. Then we let go and we're back to the positive. We will add it back in. So using that Alt or Option key is also very important, because as we go through here, we're going to be subtracting and adding into our section. Okay, it looks like I grabbed too much again, and I might have to bring down my brush a little bit. Just select around this area. If I get a little too much of the background, I'll take it out. And this is just going to be a process of going in and selecting. Now, again, you could use, say, the pen tool if that's easier for you. If you've used it before and you know how to use it, it's definitely something you can do. But I'm just going to go around and see if I can get a fine tune of selection here just by using this tool. And it might take me 5 or 10 minutes. And of course, I would take my time and really try to do the best job that I can, but because I'm trying to teach you and show you quickly, it's gonna be a little sloppier than what I would actually normally do, but I just want to show you the process, so I'm not going to spend too much time getting a perfect selection at this moment. Okay, now we've selected our subject and we want to go ahead and copy and paste this. Before I do that though, I want to go ahead and just smooth this whole selection out just a little bit. If we were to zoom in, let's find maybe a good place where it shows this. kind of around this arm, you can see that, I don't know if you can tell on your screen, but the lines are a little jagged here. So they kind of create this little jaggedy pattern, and we're going to do some things later on where we want to have this line a little bit smoother than what it is. So we want to go ahead and just smooth out this whole selection. Now, if we were to smooth this, the only problem with that is it automatically shrinks the selection a little bit by the way that it smooths, and in doing so, it can cause some problems that just don't really look that good. So what we need to do is we need to make the selection a little bigger and then smooth it down. So let me show you what I mean. Go up to the top to select, and then go down to modify, and then go to expand. And what this is going to do is it's going to expand our selection. So we can say how many pixels do we want to expand it by. Let's just do 10 just to show you what it does. So there, what it has done, it's made our selection a lot bigger. It's expanded it outward from where it was. So I'm going to undo that, Control Z or Command Z. Go to select, modify, and then expand. And we want to expand it just a little bit. Let's just say 2 pixels. So it's going to overshoot just a little bit, and we're going to pick up a little bit of that background, but that's okay because we're going to smooth this out and it'll automatically bring that back in a little bit for us anyways. So go to select, now go down to modify again, and go to smooth. And what this will do is it's going to try to smooth out the pixels of the selection around this, and it'll just make a nice cleaner line for us than what we have here. And you'll have to kind of play around with this and see the best numbers and see how it works best. Let's go ahead and just start off with 4 and see what it looks like. So we did 4 and it smoothed it a little bit, but it looks like that it kind of rounded this corner off, which was good. Let's try just a little higher number and see what we can get away with here. I'm going to go to smooth and I'm going to try 8. That's a much smoother line, but it looks like it's not bringing it as much in as I thought it would. Now I want to look at some different areas. I want to look around the hands, and I want to look around, see the camera here. Got a little weird. I might have to reselect some of this selection. The hat actually looks pretty good right there. So we could maybe bring this back in, we could contract it back in, or we could redo this. Let me just go ahead and undo a couple times. I'm going to undo the smooth, and I'm going to undo the expand, and I'm going to expand it just a little bit less. I don't want to expand it that much. So go back to select, modify, expand. Instead of 2 pixels, let's just do 1 pixel. So it just brings it out a little bit, and then go to select, modify, smooth. We'll try the 8 pixels. And that looks pretty good. If it picks up a little bit of the background, that's okay, because we're going to do some blending and some other tricks. That's not a big deal, but we want kind of a smoother line. Now, I need to fix this, and this ain't going to be perfect, but that's okay. So what that has done is it's just kind of made a nice little more curved, smooth line for us. Some of these little small spots, I might hit them one time and just kind of fix them up a little bit if they're big, but if I can get away with it, I'm not going to worry about it too much. Now keep in mind that, you know, as designers, we like to come in here and tweak and tweak and tweak, but most of the general population isn't going to notice that your lines are not perfectly smooth. They're just going to either see the thumbnail or not see the thumbnail and click on it or not click on it. Only another designer or creative person would really care about how perfect your lines are. So you want it to look good, but again, don't stress too much over it, because you don't want to spend too much time on these things that might not matter so much. But we do want to make it look pretty decent from the get-go. Okay, so I think this is a good starting point. I might, you know, like I said, I'd probably spend a little more time cleaning this up, but I want to get moving here so that I can get into the actual editing part for you. So we're going to zoom out, and we have our selection. Now all we want to do is we want to copy and paste this selection into its own layer. To do that, just go up to the top, go to Edit, and then go to Copy. Now this works like typical shortcut keys that you would find in a word processor. Control C or Command C to copy, and then we just want to paste it. So go back to Edit, and then go down to Paste. And that shortcut key is going to be Control V or Command V. When I do that, you see our selection goes away. However, it's added in a new layer for us. And so if we hide the man layer, you can see this is the selection we made. He's all by himself, and this is exactly what we want. Now we can separate him from the background and do some different editing techniques and things like that. So let's go ahead and hide the man layer. However, we want to rename these so that they are a little more accurate. So now we're just going to go ahead and call this man layer the background layer, because it's really going to be the background of this image that we're going to be editing. We're not going to see him because we're going to see him through layer 1. So we're going to call this man. So now what we have here is we have a man layer, and then we have a background layer, but we're going to be editing the man layer over the background. So we'll just call this background. Even though he's still there, that doesn't matter. It'll be covered up.